talk to you about. Eddie's on the call right now. What's up, man?
What's
Where's
up,
that
Mr.
beautiful
John?
face, anyways, brother?
This one?
He's talking about me, Eddie.
Oh,
Talking to you,
okay.
talking to Mark.
Yeah,
Yeah.
what's up, Mark?
um, how are you, Eddie?
I'm doing good. John, we spoke about the 247, kind of went into detailed of
Huh?
what it has,
Yeah,
everything
man.
that
Yeah.
goes with it. And he had a couple of questions. One of the questions was the one that I posted on the chat, which was about the DSCR, um the zero, what was it? Let me see. Let me
0 to
get
1.25.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So commercial properties on an exit, clearly there's going to be debt service requirements and depending on the loan size, but typically if you're doing a perm loan, you're at 1.25 on the debt service requirement on a perm loan on a larger balance commercial. If you
Okay.
have a small balance commercial, like a really small balance, I'm talking like under like 750,000, under that low value amount, there's no debts. We have a lender that goes no debt service on a perm loan. But if you're doing bridge loans, I didn't know the context of what Eddie was asking, except for just DSCR. Obviously, a bridge doesn't have any debt service requirements, but 1.25 is your typical, brother, on a perm loan.
Okay. Interesting. And what kind of spread over SOFR do you do?
It's around 3%, man.
So 300 basis points.
Yep, that's the typical spread. I would say. It could be less sometimes, but just kind of right now it's about 3 for the straight up commercial stuff, man. It's expensive, but
Yeah, it's not cheap, but what is SOFR right now?
oh, I don't know, man. Let's look at it.
It's got to be
Have you
in
seen
the.
it today?
I have not. No, I haven't looked at it in a couple of days. But like the company I work for, they just did a loan, and it was, I think it was like a 250 spread.
Yeah, 5.35. Yeah, and I'm not here to blow smoke. I try to
Yeah.
get people. I try to under promise, over deliver, right? So, I always go for the most realistic answer. So they're
Yeah.
5.3 right now, about 5.35 on SOFR. So
All
if you
right.
go
So a
3 over,
five.
it's 8.5%. It's not bad.
Yeah. And does the lender charge points on top of that?
On the perm loans, the max that it typically gets charged is around 1 point. A lot of our guys don't charge any points on the perm loans. But typically on the perm, it's about 1 point max. And then sometimes you got to do some sort of buy down though, whether that's like a prepay buy down. Some guys want no prepay, right? So you got to restructure the loan with some origination there. But on our 30-year stuff, I mean, the most that people are charging is around 1 point normally.
And who's people? What do you mean people? The lender or the mortgage broker, the loan broker?
Lender.
Okay. So then,
Depending on where you place the loan, we do have some mortgage bankers. If you want to go the mortgage banker route from your brokerage, we call them capital partners. So our capital
Yeah.
partners, whether that's the direct fund or if we're, using somebody who could be sponsored through Fannie, Freddie, that kind of stuff.
All right. So if I bring a borrower in, right, and I tell my borrower it's a 2.5, it's 2.5 points, right, on my side, right, but the lender may be charging points too, so his total exposure would be 3.5.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah, I would. Yeah, I mean, yeah, if the lender's charging points, then you got to do it. I like to try to quote total points.
Yeah. Well, that's
I
why I
just
was
say, hey,
asking.
total is going to cost around 3 points total.
Yeah.
Our capital partner, typically want an instant return, upon funding. And then we charge our 1.5 or 2 points, 3 points, depending on the deal size, right? So,
Yeah. Okay. And do you typically charge an underwriting fee up front? So
no,
one of the things that concerns me the most actually is this, right? And I know this because I've done this, right? When I've had debt in a capital stack, is I pick up the phone, right? And I call 30 loan brokers, right? And And basically what I'm I'm curious about it, if there are ways or strategies that you have to avoid spinning your wheels, right? So Bob calls ABC loan company, and the guy says, "Oh yeah, we can do that. Blah 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 blah. It's free. All this stuff." And then he makes 5 more calls, right? To 5 more loan brokers, and they're all calling the same lender, right? I mean, do you run into that, or do you have strategies
Yeah,
for
we get
that?
shoppers. Yeah, man, you got to set yourself apart, bro.
Well, I get that, but I mean, and as I said, I know I can add a lot of value there,
Yeah.
because of the perspectives and the experiences I've had.
Yeah.
But it would seem to me that pretty much every loan is just wildly shopped.
Yeah, they can be. They can be wildly shopped for sure. We get them every once in a while. We had someone right now who we took a loan to, one of our lenders says, we've seen this 4 times and the borrower just won't take the loan. You know, they won't take it. So that happens, man. And you can't really avoid the borrower shopping, right? So they have the right to do what they want. We have methods and processes, like you take upfront fee, you know, as a kind of like
Yeah, or
retainer.
have them sign an exclusive, maybe, right?
Yeah, I mean, if I get the feel that guy, you know, if I get the feeling he's shopping around and it's pretty aggressive shopping, I mean, I just have my loan officers always get the fee agreement. I said, man, get the fee agreement. If he's not willing to sign the fee agreement, stop working on the loan to
Yeah,
save yourself some time.
yeah.
And the fee agreement, there's some exclusivity right there. And then there's the upfront fee. So my firm, I've never taken upfront fee. I've played with the idea. Some firms that I've worked with, they always take an upfront fee, $500 to $1,500 deposit, and you know that deposit gets reimbursed in a way, you know, through when the deal funds, right?
Yeah.
So it comes off closing costs. But it's your call. At the end of the day, it's all about where you're getting that lead from. If you're getting the lead from Facebook leads, like we do Facebook campaigns, those guys are almost always shopping out in my experience. You know, well, not always, but they're more of a shopper than a referral. If you're getting solid referrals, man, if you have a solid foundation of referral partners, then those guys are rarely shopping out. So it depends on where your lead sources are. So yeah, if you're getting the lead from bigger pockets or Facebook leads, then you're going to expect them to shop, and you know, it's your call on how you want to run it. I don't do I don't do upfront fee. If I get the feeling he's going to shop, I do the fee agreement up front. I won't work on the deal unless I get the fee agreement back. And I try to be very clear. It's like, hey man, you know, we're a brokerage, you know, the reason why you hire me is I work with 2 kinds of people. The first kind of person is someone who's literally struggling to get financing anywhere else, and they just need help getting somebody to fund that deal. The second person is professional investors who understand that their focus should be on investing. So they delegate the financing aspects of their business to me, so they don't have to worry about where to place the loan, you know, lender negotiations, title, insurance, or funding. You just delegate the financing aspects of your investment business to someone else, and that's me. So I work with 2 people who are struggling, and professional investors who'd rather delegate the financing aspects to someone like me. So if you don't fit that category, then you know it might not be a good fit for us to work together. You know, that's my pitch, in essence. That's what I say. So
Yeah.
you know, I try to push people away more so than kind of yank them in. You know.
Tomorrow in Wellington.
Yeah, that approach makes sense. But I'll say this: Florida, you have a lot of New Yorker types or people from the Northeast who are very, very aggressive, especially on the real estate side of things.
Yeah, I mean, if they want to save 2 to 3 points on the financing side, you know, and they want to go find lenders and like deal with that rigmarole, then just let them do it. If they're not willing to pay, it's like, dude, I don't work for I'm literally my purpose in life is to make the financing transaction easier for you. You know, if you're going to cut me on, the amount that they profit on the deals when it's like a fix and, you know, when it's a large AR after repair value, you know, our cost is so minimal.
Yeah.
So I just
Okay.
explain it to them that way. I just be straight up. The more transparent, the better, I've found. You know,
Yeah.
people, those New Yorkers type, they like a straight up answer like that. You know, just
Yeah.
don't beat around the bush. Just tell them, hey, listen, man, I'm not here to spin my wheels. You know, we've done this for a long time. We finance a lot of transactions like these. We have a home for it. If you want to, you know, if you want us to work for you, this is what we charge. And, you know, a lot of the guys that we work with come back to us because, you know, they like the experience. So you give us a shot, we can get rolling on it. You know, sign our fee agreement. Otherwise, you know, I hope you're the best, you know, so
Yeah. Okay.
indifference, you know, indifference is the key, being straight up and, you know, don't beat around the bush. You know, this
Okay.
isn't, yeah, go ahead.
Now, do you, on the lenders that you work with, do they routinely provide additional funding facilities, for lack of a better term, for like tenant improvements, leasing commissions, capital needs like a roof, like HVAC or parking lots, stuff like that? Do you structure that into the loan?
Yeah, I mean, it depends on the deal, but normally that would be like a bridge loan if you need CapEx. So if there's CapEx that's needed, we would just call it a commercial bridge. You know, if it's a cash out refinance, typically borrower use the funds for whatever the heck they want. You know, so with no discretion from the lender. So it just depends, you know, how the deal's presented. Um,
Okay.
hopefully that answers your question.
Yeah, because I find on like, so currently I handle the leasing for, you know, about a 2 million square foot portfolio of mostly medical office buildings, but there's a mix of retail in there as well. And oftentimes the way these loans are structured is there's so they might do a 10-year loan, but they have the ability to, or the lender will fund the tenant improvements and leasing commissions and roofing and major capital as part of the loan, and they just basically ride the loan balance up.
Yeah, I mean, we just talked to somebody today who would do something a bit like that. They're West Coast only.
Okay.
But it's a bridge facility at the end of the day, though. They call themselves more of a bridge lender, but they would roll a 10-year for those CapEx to get them stabilized.
Okay.
Yeah, we
Interesting.
just talked to someone today about that. Their minimum loan amount's 10 million though, so you got to have a good sized deal if you're going to roll something like that. On the smaller ones, it's going to be shorter terms. I guarantee it. You know, 24 to 36 months.
Now let me ask you this: when I was active as a GC, right, a general contract, a contractor, I found that you made more money doing four, little $300,000 projects than $1 million project, because everyone would come out of the woodwork at some point and start bidding against themselves, and before you know it, you're losing money, right? Because the margins get so narrow, and thin. And I'm curious, in your experience, what the kind of sweet spot is to max out the fees and stuff like that.
Larger the loan amount, the better, in my opinion. So
Is it even if you have to skinny down the fees?
yeah, absolutely. A small deal actually ends up giving you more problems than the bigger deal, because smaller deal means smaller time investor, who isn't used
Yeah,
to
you got to
or
hold
willing.
their hands and all that stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, you got to hold their hands.
Yeah.
You got to overcome an appraisal fee objection. It's like,
Yeah.
you don't want to have to be like, well, I can get an appraisal for $650. Why am I paying $800? And it's like, bro, does it matter? Like, you won't say
Yeah.
bro, but you know what I'm saying. It's
I
like,
do. Yeah.
it's
Well,
like,
it's the same
do
as
I
true
want to
with the
go? Do I want to
leases.
deal with petty objections? But 300,000 is actually a pretty good mark. I mean, those kinds of conversations are typically like Midwest deals around, $65,000 to $150,000 deals. A good mark is 300,000. You'd make a perfect amount of money. I would say that's actually a great point where you can start charging around 3 points. you know, at 300,000, and it's a good check. That's around 9 grand on a 3-pointer. But you know, you'll do just as much work, if not more, on the small deal than you will the big deal. You know, you charge 1 point on $1 million deal, you're at 10 grand. You did, you know, a third, you know, probably half the work, I would say, depending on the sophistication of the borrower. So anyways, I always say the bigger the deal, the better. You know, you shouldn't be charging less than 1 point on anything over $1 million. You never charge less than a point. That's the way, that's our philosophy.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's my opinion on it. I mean, a good sweet spot is probably, you know, you just stay above $250,000 loan amount if you want to, you know, get away from the headaches. But
Oh,
yeah, I
I
mean,
was
I have
thinking,
brokers who will close like 4 points on $2 million deals. You know, you get $1 million
well,
deal, you charge 1 on the yield spread, you charge 2 on the front. Now you're sitting at, you know, 3 points, the $30,000 check on a $1 million deal. So we have those happen all the time. So it's not like the most common structure that you'll get, but I have brokers that fund deals like that all the time.
okay. And do you have a network of like lawyers, title companies, and survey companies and stuff like that for the types of things that the lenders typically ask for?
Yeah, so we'll hook you up with title and processing companies and then lender contacts. Not attorneys, no
Okay.
closing attorneys, but the title companies we work with are nationwide typically, and they have their own kind of contacts that will roll you in if it's an attorney state.
Yeah.
So yeah, we have I would say half those contacts that you're talking about right there available for you. But hey man, if you're rolling into the membership program that we're rolling out and you're not
Yeah.
dropping on the higher ticket item that we have, the mentorship program and the masterclass, you're just joining the community. Yeah. The amount of value that you're going to see in that program is, you know, is far outweighs the cost. I guarantee it, man. So I'm excited
Well,
for you to at least get a taste.
yeah, I think that's my inclination at this point. So,
Yeah, no,
okay.
you'll enjoy it. And you know, if you want to join up in the master class, you can always join up later on. That's kind of
Okay.
the purpose of this. Our goal is to really just earn your trust, show you what we can do, you know, and our resources, and
I
roll.
I like I like your program. I'm just inching my way closer and closer, and I'm almost there. So
Yeah, no, man. Well, roll on into the membership. We just did a live lender Q&A today, and a few guys that just joined up on Monday were on that call, so you can get a feel for how we roll there, and then you'll get access to the master, the turnkey brokerage builder and everything. So, yeah, man, I'm excited for you, Mark. Are you still working right now, or are you retired and you're going to shift gears and go into this? I forgot your story. It's been a while.
yeah, so right now I'm working. However, the company I'm working for is starting to I think show signs of I'll say longevity signs, if you will.
Yeah.
You know, it's very expensive to staff an asset management operation with best of class, right? And unless you have a lot of critical mass in terms of assets under management, it's very difficult to pull that off. And I think that's a struggle that they're having. So,
Sure.
Yeah. So I'm looking for well, essentially a way to replace that kind of cash flow. And I work with brokers every day, so I certainly understand that mindset and mentality, but I've never actually done it as a broker.
Yeah.
And that's the big thing that makes me nervous. That's all.
Right. Well, you know, you have good reason to be nervous. You know, it's the industry is a lot more difficult than people realize to break into and do well. And, you know, I tell everybody it's a 6 to 12 to 24 month learning curve on funding your first deal and then having a pipeline of deals behind it. And I call 24 months it's failure. So hopefully you can get through it quicker. But, you know, the whole reason why we made the program is to accelerate that learning curve down to just a few months. You got your first deal funded. You got a pipeline of deals behind it, because we're teaching you everything from how to source the deals, to place the loans, to overcome the objections, to scale the brokerage at the end of the day. So, you have good reason to be nervous to get into it. It's a lot harder than people expect. That's why we built what we built, because people are suffering, and there's no support system, there's no training systems, there's no community for private money commercial mortgage brokers. It just doesn't exist. And so we're just kind of coming in and helping solve that problem for people little by little. And you're smart trying to fix those problems before you get those problems. I'll tell you that much.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Excellent. Well,
Yeah.
thanks for taking the time again. I appreciate it.
All right, bro.